If you believe in love that breaks all boundaries, hit that subscribe button right now. This story will change how you see destiny. 10 seconds. That's all it took for Zain Al-Muhanna to realize his perfectly controlled life was about to shatter. He stood on the marble balcony of his Dubai penthouse, phone pressed to his ear, when he saw her across the street, a girl in a faded blue abaya kneeling beside a collapsed elderly woman, her hands moving with desperate precision as she performed CPR. The city blurred around her. Only she existed in that moment, fighting death with nothing but determination. Mr. Al-Muhanna, are you listening? The merger. Zain hung up. He couldn't look away. The paramedics arrived. The old woman gasped back to life. The girl in blue disappeared into the crowd before anyone could thank her. Something cracked open in Zain's chest. He didn't know what. He didn't like it. Her name was Hana Salim, and she lived in a world where hope was currency and dreams were luxuries. The orphanage in Old Dubai smelled like cardboard and overcooked rice, but it was home. 17 years she'd lived there, sleeping on a thin mattress between two other girls, folding her few possessions into a single drawer. That evening, as she served dinner to the younger children, the orphanage director called her aside. "Hana, I need to speak with you." Mrs. Farah's face looked wrong. Too careful. Too sad. What is it? There's been an offer. A family. They want to sponsor your education. Hana's heart leaped. Education meant escape. Freedom. A future that wasn't scrubbing floors or marrying whoever would take a girl with no dowry. But there's a condition, Mrs. Farah continued. You'll work as a companion for their grandmother. Live in their home. Follow their rules. Which family? The Al-Muhannas. The name meant nothing to Hana. She nodded. When do I start? The Al-Muhanna estate sprawled across the coastline like a small kingdom. Hana stood at the gates with her single bag, feeling like an ant approaching a palace. The security guard checked her name 3 times before letting her through. Inside, everything gleamed. Marble floors reflected chandeliers. The air tasted expensive. You're the orphan? Hana turned. A woman in her 40s descended the grand staircase, diamonds glittering at her throat. Designer abaya. Manicured hands. Eyes that calculated worth in seconds. I'm Hana Salim, ma'am. I'm here to care for my mother-in-law, 92 years old, blind, difficult. You'll bathe her, feed her, read to her, keep her company. My son insisted on this arrangement. The woman's lips thinned. I'm Sultana Al-Muhanna. You will not speak to my son unless spoken to. You will not wander the house. You will not touch anything that doesn't concern your work. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Your room is beside grandmother's. Someone will show you. Sultana turned away, then paused. One more thing. We're hosting a business dinner tomorrow night. You'll keep the old woman upstairs. I don't want interruptions. Hana had been dismissed before she'd even arrived. Grandmother Amira sat in a wheelchair by the window, her clouded eyes fixed on nothing. When Hana entered, the old woman's head tilted. Who's there? My name is Hana. I'm here to help you. Another servant. How thrilling. But grandmother's voice held curiosity, not cruelty. Hana approached slowly, kneeling beside the wheelchair so they were eye level, even though the old woman couldn't see. I'm not really a servant. I'm studying to be a nurse. Well, I want to be. This arrangement helps me afford university. Practical. I like that. Come closer, girl. Hana leaned in. Grandmother's weathered hands reached out, finding Hana's face, tracing her features like reading Braille. You have kind eyes. I can feel it in your expression. Tell me, do you believe in fate? I believe we make our own. Grandmother laughed, a sound like rustling paper. Oh, you'll shake things up here. Good. This family needs shaking. Zain came home at midnight. He'd spent the day closing a deal worth 40 million dirhams, but his mind kept returning to the girl in blue from 3 days ago. He'd sent his assistant to find her. Nothing. She'd vanished like smoke. He headed to his grandmother's wing to check on her, his nightly ritual, the one human thing he still did. The door was open. Light spilled into the hallway. And there, sitting cross-legged on the floor beside his grandmother's chair, was her. The girl from the street. She was reading aloud from a poetry collection, her voice turning the words into music. His grandmother smiled, actually smiled, something she hadn't done since his grandfather died. Hana looked up, and their eyes met. Zain forgot how to breathe. "Who are you?" he demanded, harsher than intended. Hana stood quickly, book falling from her hands. "I'm Hana. I was hired to care for your grandmother." "By whom?" "Your mother arranged it through the orphanage." "His mother?" "Of course." Sultana's solution to every problem: hire someone else to handle it. Grandmother's voice cut through the tension. "Zain, don't interrogate the girl. She's wonderful. Better company than you've been in months. I'm here every night, grandmother. You're here physically. Your mind is always somewhere else." Hana actually listens. Zain studied this girl who'd crashed into his world twice now. She wore no makeup. Her hijab was simple, pinned carefully, but her eyes held fire. Intelligence. Something that made his carefully constructed walls feel inadequate. "We have rules in this house," he said. "Your mother explained them. I intend to follow every one of them." "Good." He turned to leave, then stopped. "That woman on the street 3 days ago. You saved her life." Hana's eyes widened. "That was you watching? Why did you run away?" "I had to get back to the orphanage before curfew. And I don't do things for recognition." Is this fate or coincidence? Drop a comment with your theory, and smash that like button if you're already hooked. Zain nodded slowly. "Thank you for saving her. She's the grandmother of one of my business partners." He left before she could respond, but his heart was doing something strange. Something dangerous. The business dinner the next evening was exactly as tedious as Zain expected. 40 guests, all fake smiles and hidden agendas. His mother orchestrated everything with military precision, showing off their wealth like a peacock displaying feathers. Upstairs, Hana sat with grandmother Amira, listening to stories about old Dubai, before the skyscrapers, before the wealth, when the Al-Muhannas were just pearl divers with big dreams. "My husband and I built this empire from sand and stubbornness," grandmother said. "But somewhere along the way, our children forgot the struggle." Zain's father died chasing more money when he already had enough. Sultana married into this family for status, not love. And Zain? What about Zain? He's brilliant, ruthless in business. But he's become what he thought he had to be, not what he wants to be. He's lonely, though he'd never admit it. A crash downstairs. Shouting. Hana rushed to the door. Through the stairwell, she heard Sultana's voice rising in panic. "Someone call an ambulance. He's not breathing." Hana didn't think. She ran. The scene downstairs was chaotic. One of the guests, a man in his 60s, lay motionless on the floor. Everyone stood frozen, useless. Hana dropped to her knees beside him, fingers finding his pulse. "Nothing. Move back," she ordered. She started compressions. Counted. Breathed into his mouth. Counted again. Her training from volunteering at the clinic took over. The world narrowed to rhythm and pressure and the desperate hope that this man's heart would beat again. Zain appeared beside her. "What can I do?" "Time me. 30 compressions, then I breathe twice. Keep me steady." They worked in sync. Zain's voice counted. Hana's hands pushed. Once. Twice. 15 times. 20. The man gasped. His eyes fluttered open. The ambulance arrived. Paramedics took over. The guest was stable, alive, confused but breathing. Hana stood, legs shaking, hands trembling from adrenaline. Blood rushed in her ears. Zain caught her elbow. "You saved him." "I did what anyone would do." "No. Most people freeze." "You acted." His grip tightened, grounding her. "Who are you really?" "Just a girl trying to survive." But the way he looked at her said he didn't believe that anymore. The next morning, Hana woke to find an envelope slipped under her door. Inside was a check for 50,000 dirhams and a note in elegant handwriting. "For university tuition. You earned it. Z." She stared at the zeros. This was more money than she'd seen in her entire life. But something about it felt wrong. Like charity. Like being bought. She found Zain in his study, drowning in paperwork. "I can't accept this." He glanced up surprised. "Why not?" Because I didn't save that man for money. I did it because it was right. Consider it a scholarship then. From whom? Your guilt? Your mother's embarrassment that an orphan had to save her party. Zain set down his pen. You're the first person in years who's told me no. It's refreshing. I don't want you to be refreshed. I want fairness. If you want to help me, let me earn it. Give me a job. Let me work. You already work for my grandmother. Then pay me properly for that. Not this. She put the check on his desk. I won't be anyone's charity case. Zain studied her for a long moment, and something shifted in his expression. Respect. Maybe more. You're impossible. I've been called worse. He almost smiled. What if I offered you a different deal? Work as my grandmother's companion, and I'll cover your university tuition. Fair wage for fair work. No charity. Hana considered. It was still his money, his power, his world. But it was also her chance. Deal. But I have one condition. Which is, you spend time with your grandmother. Real time. Not midnight check-ins where you're thinking about spreadsheets. I'm busy. She's 92, Zain. One day you won't have the option to be busy. The truth hit him like a slap. He nodded. Twice a week. Dinner with her. Done. They shook hands. The touch lasted a second too long. Over the following weeks, the Al-Muhanna house was transformed. Hana brought life to the silent corners. She convinced grandmother to sit in the garden, feeling the sun. She organized the younger staff into a rotating reading schedule so the old woman was never alone. And twice a week, Zain sat with his grandmother, eating simple meals, talking about everything except business. You're different lately, grandmother observed during one dinner. How so? You laugh. It sounds rusty, like you've forgotten how, but it's there. Across the table, Hana hid a smile. Sultana noticed the changes too, and she hated them. This orphan girl was disrupting her carefully ordered world. Worse, her son was spending less time at the office, more time at home. That was dangerous. One afternoon, Sultana cornered Hana in the hallway. You're getting comfortable here. I'm just doing my job, ma'am. Your job is to care for an old woman, not to infiltrate my family. I'm not. Stay away from my son. Girls like you think you can climb out of poverty by seducing wealthy men. It won't work here. The accusation burned. Hana felt her face heat, but she kept her voice level. I have no interest in your son beyond basic courtesy. But even if I did, that would be my choice, not yours to control. Sultana's eyes went cold. Everything in this house is mine to control. Don't forget where you come from. She swept away, leaving Hana shaking with anger and something worse doubt. Because the truth was, she did think about Zain. Too much. Too often. Zain's birthday fell on a Thursday. His mother planned an elaborate party, 500 guests, a live band, champagne towers. But Zain told his assistant to cancel it. Instead, he found Hana in the garden with his grandmother. I need a favor. Hana looked up surprised. Zain rarely asked for anything. What kind of favor? It's my birthday. I don't want a party. I want one day where I'm not Zain Al-Muhanna, billionaire CEO. I just want to be someone normal. Grandmother laughed. Take him, Hana. Show him how regular people celebrate. I don't think. Please. Zain's voice was soft. Vulnerable. Just for a few hours. Hana saw something in his face that decided her. Not the polished businessman, but someone lost, searching for something he couldn't name. Okay, but we do this my way. She took him to Old Dubai, the neighborhood where she'd grown up. They walked through narrow streets where laundry hung between buildings and children played soccer with a deflated ball. Zain wore jeans and a plain t-shirt, a baseball cap pulled low. Nobody recognized him. This is where you lived? The orphanage is 2 blocks that way. We'd come here on weekends, help the aunties at the market, and earn a few dirhams. She bought them shawarma from a street vendor, the best in the city, she claimed. They sat on a bench overlooking the creek, watching the old Abra boats ferry passengers. This is the best birthday I've had in 15 years, Zain said quietly. Why 15? That's when my father died. After that, birthdays became business obligations. Another year older, another goal to hit, another expectation to meet. Hana handed him a small package wrapped in newspaper. "What's this?" "Open it." Inside was a compass, old and brass, slightly tarnished. "I found it at the souk last week." "I thought, you're always moving in 100 directions. Maybe this will help you find your way." Zain turned the compass over in his hands. No one had given him a meaningful gift in years. Everything was expensive watches or designer ties, gifts from people who didn't know him at all. "Thank you," he whispered. "Happy birthday, Zain." When their eyes met, the city disappeared. The noise faded. There was only her face, lit by the setting sun, and the terrifying realization that he was falling. He leaned closer. She didn't move away. Their lips were inches apart when Hannah's phone rang. "Mrs. Farah from the orphanage. Emergency." "I have to go," Hannah said, standing abruptly. "One of the kids is sick." "I'll drive you." They made it to the orphanage in 12 minutes. A little girl named Imani, only 6 years old, burned with fever. Mrs. Farah looked panicked. "The clinic is closed. The hospital is too expensive. I don't know what to do." Hannah checked Imani's symptoms quickly. Possible infection. She needs antibiotics. Now. Zain was already on his phone. "I'm sending my private doctor. He'll be here in 10 minutes. Zain, that's not. It's done, Hannah. The doctor arrived. Imani was treated. The fever broke by midnight. Zain stayed the entire time, sitting with the other children, listening to their stories, seeing a world he'd forgotten existed. These kids had nothing, no parents, no money, no guarantees, but they had each other. They laughed. They hoped. He'd forgotten what that looked like. As dawn broke, he found Hana on the orphanage roof, watching the sunrise. "Thank you for bringing me here," he said. "I didn't do anything. You reminded me that wealth means nothing if you don't use it to matter. My grandfather started with nothing. He built everything so his family would never struggle. But somewhere, we forgot the point. We chased more money, more status, and lost the part that made us human." Hana turned to face him. "So, what will you do?" "Change. Starting now." He took her hand. She let him. "Hana, I know we come from different worlds. I know my mother would lose her mind. I know 1,000 reasons this is complicated. But I can't stop thinking about you. Every moment. Every breath. You've taken apart my entire life in 6 weeks. Zain, I'm not asking for forever. I'm just asking if you feel this too. This impossible, terrifying thing between us." She did. God, she did. But fear wrapped around her heart. "Your mother already warned me to stay away from you. If we do this, it won't be simple. Nothing worth having is ever simple." Hana closed her eyes, teetering on the edge of a decision that would change everything. Then she nodded. "I feel it too." He kissed her as the sun rose over Dubai, and for the first time in years, Zain felt like he was exactly where he belonged. They kept it secret. Stolen moments in the garden. Whispered conversations in doorways. Texts that made her smile at 2 a.m. Grandmother knew, of course. She saw everything, even blind. "You make him happy," she told Hana. "Don't let anyone take that from you." But Sultana was watching. Waiting. She found her moment 3 weeks later. A business rival of Zain's approached her at a charity gala, smiling like a shark. "I hear your son has taken an interest in the help." Sultana's blood went cold. "Excuse me, an orphan girl. Hana something. People are talking. It's bad for your family's image. I thought you'd want to know." That night, Sultana confronted Zain in his study. "You're sleeping with the orphan. Her name is Hana, and I'm in love with her." Sultana's face twisted. "Love? Don't be naive. She's using you for money, status, a way out of poverty. Girls like her always have an angle. You don't know her. I know her type. I came from humble beginnings too, Zain. I clawed my way into this family. The difference is, I earned my place. She's just a leech. Get out. She'll destroy your reputation. Our family's name. Everything we've built." I said get out. Sultana left, but her parting words were poison. "Choose, Zain. Her or this family. You can't have both." The ultimatum hung over everything. Zain threw himself into finding a solution, but every path led to the same wall. His mother controlled the family trust, the business shares, the estate. If she wanted to make Hannah's life hell, she could. Hana felt the pressure too. She saw how the staff whispered, how Sultana's friends stared at her with barely concealed disgust. One evening, she found Zain on the balcony, staring at the city lights. Tell me about your father. He was silent for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. He was brilliant, ambitious. He taught me that success is measured in zeros on a bank account. But he worked so hard chasing the next deal that he forgot to live. He died of a heart attack in his office at 2 a.m. alone, finalizing a merger. Do you want to end up like him? No, but I don't know how to be anything else. Hana took his hand. Yes, you do. You spent your birthday eating shawarma on a bench. You stayed up all night with sick orphans. You laugh with your grandmother. That's who you are when you stop trying to be what everyone expects. My mother will never accept you. I know. She'll make your life miserable. I know that too. So why are you still here? Hana smiled, sad and true. Because love isn't about easy choices. It's about impossible ones that somehow feel right anyway. Zain pulled her close, breathing in the jasmine scent of her hijab. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me now. Grandmother Amira's health declined rapidly the following week. The doctors said it was her heart, just worn out after 92 years of beating. Hana stayed by her side constantly. Zain canceled every meeting, every obligation, and sat on the other side of his grandmother's bed. I'm ready, grandmother whispered one afternoon. I've lived a good life. I loved a good man. Raised a stubborn son and an even more stubborn grandson. Don't talk like that, Zain said. Hush. I'm dying, I'll talk how I please. She reached out, finding both their hands, placing them together. You too. Promise me something. Anything, Hana whispered. Fight for this. Love is rarer than diamonds, more precious than all the money in this city. Don't let small people with small dreams steal it from you. Promise me. We promise, they said together. Grandmother smiled. Good. Now go away. I'm tired. They left her to rest. She died in her sleep 3 hours later, peaceful, ready, gone. The funeral was massive. Hundreds of people who'd never really known her showed up to be seen. Sultana orchestrated everything with cold efficiency. But Hana and Zain stood apart from the crowd, holding each other, grieving the woman who'd believed in them when no one else did. The reading of the will came 2 weeks later. Sultana looked smug. Zain looked resigned. Hana wasn't even invited, but Zain insisted she be there. The lawyer cleared his throat. Zain Al-Muhanna left very specific instructions. Get on with it, Sultana snapped. To my daughter-in-law Sultana, I leave the beach house in Abu Dhabi and my jewelry collection. Use them wisely, though I doubt you will. Sultana's face reddened. To my grandson Zain, I leave controlling interest in the family business, the main estate, and the foundation. But there is a condition. Zain straightened. What condition? You must marry within 1 year. Not for business, not for status, but for love. The woman you choose must be approved by a council consisting of 3 people, myself, posthumously through a letter I will provide, my personal attorney, and Mrs. Farah from the City Hope Orphanage. The room exploded. This is insane. Sultana shouted. It's legally binding, the lawyer said calmly. If Zain fails to meet this condition, everything goes to charity. He handed Zain a sealed envelope. Your grandmother's letter. To be opened when you've made your choice. Zain stared at the envelope, then at Hana. She saw the question in his eyes. Sultana saw it too. No, absolutely not. I forbid it. You forbid nothing, the lawyer said. Mrs. Sultana, you have no say in this matter. The will is clear. For the first time in her life, Sultana Al-Muhanna had lost control. That night, Zain and Hana sat in the garden where they'd first admitted their feelings. My grandmother knew, Zain said. She knew my mother would fight us. So she made it impossible for anyone to stop us. Zain, you don't have to do this. You could find someone else, someone your mother approves of. I don't want someone else. I'm nobody. An orphan with no family, no connections, no. You're everything. He knelt in front of her, taking her hands. Hana Salim, I've spent my whole life building walls. You knocked them all down. I've spent years chasing things that don't matter. You showed me what matters. I don't have a ring. I don't have a speech prepared. I just have the truth. I love you. I will love you tomorrow and every day after. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Hannah's face. Yes. 1,000 times yes. They kissed in the garden as the stars watched. The same stars that had witnessed their first meeting, their first touch, their first impossible hope that maybe, just maybe, love could bridge any gap. The engagement announcement sent shockwaves through Dubai's elite circles. And Al-Muhanna marrying an orphan? Impossible. Scandalous. Romantic. Sultana refused to attend the wedding. She moved into the Abu Dhabi beach house and cut off all contact with her son. But Mrs. Farah cried happy tears and helped Hana choose a wedding dress. Simple, elegant, perfect. The lawyer approved immediately, saying grandmother had predicted this exact outcome. And when Zain opened his grandmother's sealed letter the night before the wedding, he read, "My dearest Zain, if you're reading this, you've chosen Hana. I'm not surprised. From the moment I heard her voice, I knew she was special. She has something you've lacked your entire life, genuine kindness without agenda. Your mother will be furious. Let her be. She married for status and has spent 30 years miserable because of it. You're marrying for love. That's what I did, and I regret nothing. Build a life that matters. Fill this big empty house with children and laughter. Remember where you came from. Never forget that wealth is responsibility, not privilege. And tell Hana I couldn't have chosen better for you if I'd arranged it myself. All my love, always, grandmother." Zain folded the letter carefully, tucking it into his jacket pocket. Tomorrow he would marry the woman who'd saved his life, not once, but every single day since she'd walked into it. The wedding was small. Just 50 people who actually mattered, staff from the estate, children from the orphanage, a few of Zain's genuine friends. Hana walked down the aisle wearing her simple dress and the most radiant smile anyone had ever seen. Zain waited at the altar, looking at her like she was the only person in the world. They spoke their vows in Arabic and English, voices steady, hands clasped. "I promise to honor you," Zain said. "To protect you. To build a life with you that makes a difference." "I promise to challenge you," Hana replied. "To stand beside you. To remind you every day that you are more than your bank account." They were pronounced husband and wife. The kiss lasted long enough to make people cheer. 6 months later, Hana graduated from nursing school at the top of her class. Zain sat in the audience, cheering louder than anyone. She got a job at the children's hospital. Zain started a foundation supporting education for orphans. They converted part of the estate into a community center, free medical clinic, tutoring programs, job training. Sultana eventually came around, grudgingly admitting that maybe, possibly, she'd been wrong about Hana. It took the birth of her first grandchild to fully soften her, but she got there. And every night, Zain and Hana sat under the stars on their balcony, watching the city lights, grateful for every impossible moment that had led them here. "Do you ever regret it?" Hana asked one evening, her head on his shoulder. "Giving up the life you had?" "I didn't give up on anything. I gained everything." He kissed her forehead. "You saved my life, Hana. Long before that day on the street. You saved me from becoming someone I would have hated. We saved each other." They sat in comfortable silence, two souls from different worlds who'd found home in each other. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more emotional journeys. Drop a comment telling us if you believe in destiny or choice. Your answer might inspire our next story. And don't forget to like if you believe love can break any boundary. Until next time, keep believing in magic.